What's up, everybody? In this video, I'm going to share with you guys how I built a $250,000 net worth by the age of 30 doing the least amount of work possible. I graduated college making $39,000 a year, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my experience of reaching this net worth milestone, as well as some tips that have helped me execute and stay consistent along the way. My personal finance journey started shortly after I graduated college in 2019, and I graduated with a business degree from a state school. I was living in a medium cost of living city with my girlfriend at the time, and this salary created a scarcity mindset for me. I wanted to spend some money, but I also knew that I needed to save for retirement. So I started researching, learning, and consuming personal finance content to understand what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to be. Now, in 2026, I'm making over $100,000 a year, and I can comfortably maintain a 25% plus savings rate. Welcome to AFK Wealth, where yours truly, Certified Unk, talks personal finance over gameplay. Today, we have some Fortnite Zero Build Ranked Battle Royale. That's a mouthful. But I think I'm open to some Counter-Strike 2, some zombies, and other gameplay in the future. Before we start, nothing in this video is or should be considered financial advice. I just wanted to post this to share my thoughts and experiences for my own personal finance journey for entertainment purposes only. So I hope you enjoy the video. Now, if you don't know what a net worth statement is, a net worth statement is a great way to pretty much measure the overall financial health of a person or a business. It's a very simple equation where you add up all of your assets, you add up all of your liabilities, and those two numbers combined are going to give you your net worth number. There's a lot of factors that go into a net worth number. Some people, include their houses, some don't, stuff like that. But something I want to talk about before we get into the video is student loan debt. So student loan debt is something that is very common in today's world, and college is expensive. So student loan debt exists as a tool that people can use to further their education. I do need to call out before we get started that I am one of the very lucky ones whose family paid for my college education. So I was able to graduate with actually zero student loan debt. Now, if you have student loan debt or you need to take it out to go to school, you should not be discouraged at all from, fighting and working towards a high net worth, because you still can easily do that. You just have to make sure that you're intentional about your student loan debts and intentional about your field of study. One rule of thumb that you can use is look at the first year salary of the potential, field of study you're going into, and see how much, student loan debt you're going to need to get that degree. The rule that I'm talking about is you kind of want that first year salary to be at or more than the amount of student loan debt that you would need to get that degree. So you just have to be more intentional, and most people have student loan debt. And, along those lines, people who are going into medical professions or lawyers, they're pretty much forced to take out student loan debt. So, and those are high paying professions. So it is a tool. It's just about how you use it and the decisions you make with it. But, if you graduate college with student loan debt, you very well can still achieve high net worths. So don't let that discourage you at all. Let's get into it, guys. I'm going to start putting up some account names and numbers on the screen so we can start to go through them and what I use them for. Now, this video is more so overall net worth video, so I'll touch on the accounts, but really, that's going to be separate videos going over the accounts and their pros and cons and all that stuff. So I am mainly invested in low-cost index funds, total market, some S&P 500, some international index funds, and I do have a very small percentage, 2 or 3% of my portfolio invested in individual stocks. This is because I like the hands-off approach. I like low-cost index funds because they're easy, they're simple, you can set it and forget it. So I'm going to put the accounts up on the screen now, guys, and we have my assets in the left-hand column, and we have my liabilities in the right-hand column. So the first account that we have in my assets column is going to be my health savings account cash. So this is just cash that is sitting in my health savings account that's there to cover me in case I reach the out-of-pocket maximum deductible for my medical plan for any given year. So that out-of-pocket maximum is $6,000. I have $7,500 cash in this account, so I'm covered plus a little extra there. Now, the fun part of the HSA account really is the HSA investment account. This is at $17,457, and this is the most powerful retirement account that you can contribute to. So a pattern that you're going to see with these retirement accounts, the tax advantage retirement accounts, is that they have contribution limits on them because they are tax advantaged. So the government puts contribution limits on those accounts. The contribution limit for the HSA account for a single person in 2026 is $4,400. I believe for a family that amount is $8,750. But the HSA investment account is triple tax advantaged. We'll go into that in a different video, but just know that it's the best retirement account you can contribute to. And one last thing before we move on is that you're only going to be eligible to contribute to this HSA investment account if you choose a high deductible or if your employer offers a high deductible health plan. So my deductible is high, it's $6,000. So insurance doesn't kick in medically until after I pay that out. So that is part of the HSA investment account, is that you need a high deductible health plan to get access to it. So below that, we have my taxable brokerage 1 and my taxable brokerage 2 accounts. These I am building up as bridge accounts for if I have the opportunity to retire early in life. Retirement accounts have stipulations on them where you get penalty-free access after certain ages and stuff like that. So I'm building up these after-tax brokerage accounts with Fidelity so that if I do get to the point where I'm 52 and I can be financially independent, then I have this money in these accounts growing. Now, I don't think I'm going to be financially independent at 52. We'll see. But, FIRE, even if it's a couple years earlier than the typical retirement age, it is a goal I have. So we'll see how that works out. But those are my taxable brokerage accounts. Now, below that, we have my Roth IRA account. And this is at $65,484. Some of these contributions are from a Roth 401k rollover I did for my second job out of college. I'm on my third job out of college, and I've been at this one for 4 years now. So that is why this account is a little bit larger. It's because there's some rollover funds that were included in that. Now, the Roth IRA versus the Roth 401k, that's going to be another video too. But just know that the Roth IRA, you have a lot more investment options available to you than you would with a Roth 401k through your employer. In 2026, the Roth IRA maximum contribution limit is $7,500. And, a Roth IRA is you pay taxes on the money you put in up front, and then that money grows tax-free and you can withdraw it tax-free. So that's the advantage of the Roth IRA. And the last thing I want to touch on before we leave the Roth IRA account is that, in a very bad situation, this can act as an emergency fund. You really don't want to do that because once you pull out those contributions, you can't really replenish them. And the thing that makes it act as a emergency fund in a very bad situation is you can always pull out contributions from your Roth IRA penalty free. So like I said, you don't really want to do that, but that is something you should know about the Roth IRA account. Below my Roth IRA, we have my 401k from my first job, and this is at $31,261. I'm going to put up some screenshots from my Fidelity accounts on the screen here, showing you that these dollars are the ones that have been in the market the longest for me, and they're working the hardest. So I have the lowest cost basis on the FXAIX fund, which is just the fee-free Fidelity 500 index fund. So it tracks the top 500 companies on the U.S. stock market, and I just wanted to show you guys that these are my oldest dollars and they have the lowest cost basis, because I do also have that same fund in, I believe, my taxable brokerage 2 account. So you can just, fun little visual to see the cost basis difference there. Moving on from that, we have my current 401k, which is at $106,684. Now, this account is rather large because, like I said, I switched jobs. I'm on my 3rd job out of college, and every time I switched jobs, I did get a substantial pay raise. I started at $39,000 and I'm making just about $107,000 right now. So each job jump was a significant pay increase, and the majority of that pay increase I used to increase my retirement contributions. So when I got to this 3rd job, I was already accustomed to living well below my means. So I was able to take that margin and that raise I got from my new job and put that all towards my 401k contributions. So I do get a 6% instant match on this account, which is amazing. The 2 jobs I had before this one, the matches were not 6% and they were not instant vesting. So understanding your employer contribution is critical, because that's free money that you do not want to miss out on. And also understanding the vesting schedule is pretty important too, because, it's just good knowledge to understand. So currently, I am investing all of my funds via Roth 401k right now. So we can get into that in another video too, but I just wanted to call that out while we are on this account. So after that, we have my checking accounts. I have 2 checking accounts, and there's nothing special about these. These are not dollars that are deployed in the market. It's cash that I have. And this is what I pay my rent with. This is what I buy groceries with. And, this is what I use for my monthly expenses. So I have $1,647 in one account and $1,488 in another account. Below that is my small emergency fund of $2,961. In my 20s, I did neglect my emergency fund. I pretty much wanted to put as many dollars in the market as I could. So, the opposite end of that is that my cash position has been low for all of my 20s pretty much. And now that I'm 30 years old, I do want to build up a bigger cash position. So I am bi-weekly contributing $600 to this account now to get that built up to a better place. Typically, you want to have 3 to 6 months of expenses in an emergency fund account. And this is critical because, if you lose your job or something, you do not want to have to sell your investments to pay rent. You want a buffer in there where you have cash to cover yourself for a little bit until you land on your feet. So I do take it seriously, and I am building up this account a little bit now. But yeah, that's my emergency fund. And below that, we have an account, my iBonds account, which is a United States government bond account where I invest. I just started my first investment last month. That's why it's only $250. But these are index adjusted inflation bonds. So pretty much every 6 months, the percentage on these bonds gets adjusted based on the CPI, or the Consumer Price Index, which is, inflation data. So I'm kind of treating this as a second emergency fund. And, typically for someone my age, you really don't want to build up a bond position just because I have decades in the market. And historically speaking, those dollars, if I put them in the market, they would outperform the bonds. So, but really I'm kind of just treating it as a second emergency fund. So I'm just trying to build up that cash position a little bit this year. Below my iBond account, we have my 529 account, which, I am saving for a child's education right now, even though I am single and I don't have a girlfriend. So lots of financial people would probably have opinions about this, and I would be interested to hear them if you have any in the comments below. But pretty much my thought process is, if I meet the person that I really like tomorrow, and I want to spend the rest of my life with them, and we decide we want to have a kid, then I already have a little bit of a head start on helping pay for that future child's education expenses. So now you really don't want to do this unless, you're pretty confident in your own retirement plan, because real quick, there's not much point in helping your, even if you pay for your kids' college 100%, but you don't plan for your own retirement, well, when that kid gets their degree and they get to go start their careers, they're going to have to help you out and fund you financially because you never took care of your own retirement. So we'll see how long I contribute to this, or, right now my contributions are really low, so I think it's manageable, but yeah. Now we're going to move on to my liabilities, and my liabilities column of my table is quite small because I try to keep that as minimal as I can. I pay off my credit cards every month. I'll make another video on credit card usage, but if you can pay them off every month, then you can use credit cards as tools. So right now, the snapshot in time, I have about $2,004 in credit card debt. That will be paid off by the end of the month, though. And the next time I do a net worth video, I will have a car loan on there, too, probably around $15,000. I'm buying a used car, a new-to-me car soon, so we can talk about that later, too. This brings my total assets to $254,756 and my total liabilities to $2,004. So this gives me a total net worth of $252,752. This is great. Obviously it would not be anywhere close to this if I had student loan debt based on, what that student loan debt is and everything. So we have to acknowledge that. But the number that I think is more important to me is actually my investable net worth, because these are the accounts and the dollars that are deployed in the market that are actually going to grow for me. So my investable net worth number is $241,160. So I'm happy with that. That if you look at wealth multipliers and how money grows and compounds, I'm excited to watch my accounts grow. But before we end things, guys, I just want to say choices, cash, and consistency really are the 3 C's of building wealth. Choices build your habits, and habits build your life. Cash creates margin that you need to invest, and consistency is going to allow that cash to grow and compound upon itself, and that's truly passive wealth. So the main factor for investing, especially early on, is going to be your savings rate. My goal is to be at or above 25% always, which is lofty, but I also want to retire early. So I'm not foreign to high savings rates. I think in 2026, taking advantage of things like automatic transfers, automatic withdrawal, or automatic investments, it's easier than ever. I use Fidelity. They're free. You can open up accounts very easily. But yeah. The last thing I want to say is don't compare yourself to others in an unhealthy way. Many people have much more money than I do. Many people have much less money than I do. Just focus on controlling the controllables and improving upon yourself. I think really that's the healthiest way to go about this. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you have a great day.